All right, so we're able to refactor the find user by credentials, username and password. We need to now refactor find user by ID, right? Which maps to a service implemented in the user service server, right? That you pass the ID, where you have the URL, right? The constant. The URL looks something like this. You have URL with HTTP : / local host 3100, and this would be API / user, and then passes the ID right here, plus user ID, right? And then we would like to invoke here using this .http .get and pass in the URL, and then wait for a response from the server. We like to parse it, as JSON, and then return the response parsed as a JSON. Okay. Cannot find response. Oh, there we go. Response. Right. So that we don't want to use this old synchronous implementation, right? We don't want to use this array at all, the original array, right? We don't want to use this anymore, right? So now we have to go back to the profile. If we go back to the profile, we'll notice that the component was using the synchronous version of this, right? Of finding the user by ID synchronously. This no longer works, right? Instead, we need to use the user service to find the user by ID, pass it the user ID, right? But then we need to subscribe, right? For an incoming response, which hopefully it's a user, and we would like to then say that the current user object comes from the user from the server. Okay, and why don't you want to subscribe? Subscribe this user service that find user by ID, and find user by ID is this. Oh, we need to return. There it is. Okay. So yeah. So if we go back and now refresh. This Alice and Wonderland is coming from the server, right? So from the server, if we go to the server, user service server, right? The values for first name and last name used to not be there, right? Now they're coming from the server. If we notice that Alice and Wonder, right? So we change this to Wonderland and we change this to Alicia. Right, and we restart the server, right, and we refresh this. Notice that the data, right, is coming correctly from the server, and I need to see why is this not working. The ID of undefined. I think maybe find user by ID. This is on the server. No, probably on the component. User, update user, why are you complaining? This .user ID, I think it's trying to render this. Maybe, what is it that it's complaining about? Component HTML. So the component HTML is trying to render, oh, this user ID. Okay, no, we don't have a user ID. I guess we could feed it in there and say that the user ID here, we could say that this user ID, right, is equal to user._ID. Okay, are you happy now? You're still not happy. So it's still that user ID, user_ID. Oh, for that link, this link over here. User, this doesn't exist? It has an ID. Right, that's what in the network comes back, no? It has an ID. If I hover over it, it does have a /123 website. Okay, maybe we can do an ng if user, maybe. Let's see. No, so okay, I'll take a look at it. What's going on? I'll figure it out. All right, did that make sense? Right, being able to retrieve data from the server and then use it here on the client. Right? Let's see. All right, so let's move on.